gentlemen, and judges. We're very happy to be here today in Hong Kong. It's such an opportunity, a very good opportunity to be here. And we would like to explain our presentation today, our solution and recommendation, in which we believe that Microsoft also has the opportunity to grab deeper into the market. They have a big window of opportunity, Microsoft. But before we explain that, let me introduce my team today here from University of Indonesia. My name is Nabila, this is Lisa, Iqbal, and Sony, and we will be presenting our solutions and recommendations for Microsoft. So what opportunity am I talking about here? Let's first take a little background. So Microsoft, I hope you can see this clearly, but Microsoft was actually a company that's actually very software-centric. It was always software-centric. The company was viewed as, when it does any hardware, non-software acquisitions, it was viewed to be unsuccessful by the world. However, we believe that today in this world, we have to be a company in which we have to strive. We have to become the company to be strong in devices and services company. Why? Because, well, today here, there's a huge challenge in the market, because if we cannot just become just the software company, if we just become the company who is only excellent in software, then we would be just another company that will be outperformed by the market, by the competitors. So the company, if we can say how it's positioned in the device and services company, is this. We can say that we are already strong in the services industry. We know that we have the cloud and the server. We are strong in that already. We have cloud services. We have server services. I can say that server and cloud, we can say that we are competing with Amazon. And Amazon, we know that it has a big market share. For instance, I can say that market share of Amazon is 70%. But however, we have the opportunity to grab that market share in the services industry. There's the fact that Microsoft can grab even up to 35% this year only. That's the fact that we can prove that this is very strong already in the services industry. And we want to go into the devices part. How can we grab into that? Now we already have the Xbox. We're strong in Xbox, so that's part of the devices part of the company. But we want to integrate more into a more alluring market. Smartphones and tablets, hardwares, which Microsoft does not have yet. Microsoft is only strong in softwares, but how about the hardware? This is the challenge, this is the opportunity, the window of opportunity that we want to grab here today. That is why Microsoft did an acquisition of Nokia. Like that. And because of this acquisition of Nokia, and also our plan to become a devices and services company, our revenue stream will become like this. It was once before an aid production, an aid facility. It will not only be for OS, apps, cloud, and devices. We will focus on this four. But of course, after the acquisition of Nokia, after our movement to focus on devices, there's challenges. And the challenges here is the key question that we want to address here today to you. In Nokia, because of the Nokia acquisition, we have to face the problem of how we can enhance Nokia's integration into our company, into Microsoft. Will this acquisition become good for Microsoft? That's the first thing. And the second one is also, how can we resolve the conflicts with the vendors? This means that how can Microsoft actually become the company that is managing its performance of its softwares and hardwares and become excellent in that? Because the fact now is that its competitors, for example, Samsung, are using its Android software. And the challenge here is, or Sony Xperia uses Windows OS. But Sony, however, tends to look to other platforms, to Android platforms. And here the challenge is to become the company that can balance between hardware and software. What is our position in that? We will address this later on. And the other question is, how can we focus on that software, as I have mentioned before? What's our position in the software and hardware industry? So, but above that all, because we are already acquiring Nokia, and already we want to face these challenges, the biggest problem that Microsoft has is actually this: innovation. There's a lack of innovation in Microsoft, and we want to address that. We will address that first, because the culture of the company is what makes the company excel. It what makes the company can be successful in addressing this conflict with vendors in hardware or software, and also eventually excelling in the strategy that it aims to achieve. So firstly, our team today would be addressing how we plan to strive through that innovation process. Then we will go through the Nokia's integration. How would Nokia's integration be actually good for our company? And then what is our plan actually? Would we focus on hardware or software? And eventually our team chooses to focus on devices, as I have mentioned before. We will focus on devices. My friend here will explain about that. And my friend here will explain about Nokia's integration. And lastly, Sony will conclude with the software integration. So first, let's start about the innovation process. A huge problem in innovation in Microsoft is two: innovation and execution. Firstly, there's a lack of innovation in Microsoft. And even if they have that innovation sense, even if they have, for example, when they were creating tablets like iPad, they actually had the concept already in mind. However, the execution was not well. They did not produce it at the right moment. That's the problem in execution. So not only innovation, but also execution. And this stems from some problems that start from innovation. Innovation starts from the problems that there are huge office politics in Microsoft. There's office politics because there are two types of people in Microsoft. There's the old folks and there's the newcomers. The old folks are people that come before the internet bubble, and they have the advantage from Microsoft's stock price being very stable, being very strong. That's why, because they had the stock options, they had the advantage, so they can just boost their creativity. They believe by being creative, they can gain from the stock options because they have stock options. So when the company strives, they would gain from the stock that they have. However, now after the internet bubble, everything is very volatile. The industry's stock price is actually not performing well. So the newcomers will actually not gain that benefit from the stock options they had. They will actually try to gain wealth by actually just climbing the corporate ladder. That's the problem that we see here today. And the other one is that there are also stack ranking system. They force the stack ranking system for the performance management. This is also a problem for innovation. It hinders innovation. And if we go to execution, the problem is that Microsoft tends to launch unmature products. Yes? So our solution to that, simply to those two keys of innovation and execution, is to eradicate the office politics by not giving stock options. We know that the condition now is volatile, so we do not want to give stock options. We do not want to make people just climb the corporate ladder and do the office politics. And also, to strengthen the innovation, we also tend to push side projects. If you see Google, they always push side projects for their employees. They allocate 10% of their work to make side projects to them to become more innovative. That is what we want to push for innovation. And for execution, to mitigate the problem of launching unmature products, we want to create internal product development strategy. What is this? When we create products, Microsoft tends to publish products that are not actually mature enough for the market. And how we want to mitigate that is by actually creating a company, in the company itself, that people would compete to make the best product out there. They would compete. This is the product that we want to sell to the market. So the product would be good. Firstly, the execution will be well, and secondly, people will become more innovative, because they would compete with people inside Microsoft itself. This is about the innovation process. But if you want to look deeper into the Nokia acquisition and how this would actually be good for our company, my friend Lisa will first explain about the acquisition process and why is it good. It is good for us. Please, Lisa.
Thank you, Nabila. So now I'm going to tell you more about the first movement that is taken by Microsoft, which is the acquisition of Nokia. This movement is actually seen as problematic. Why is that so? Because first of all, there are two huge teams are involved in this acquisition, both from Nokia and also Microsoft. Secondly, the huge groups that are involved is very prone towards culture clash. Even if they are managing, even if they manage to work together, there is still a culture clash. There is still very possible in this acquisition. And thirdly, there's a pessimistic view from the public towards this acquisition. Why is that so? Because previously, we have seen Microsoft acquiring the non-software company, and this will result in fail. However, we believe that this case will not be the same. Why is that? Why we believe so? Because first of all, the synergy and also the change of vision actualization that is introduced by Ballmer will actually help Microsoft to create a more conducive working environment, both for Nokia and also Microsoft. And the pessimistic view by public when Microsoft is actually acquiring a hardware company is also it also cannot be justified, because Microsoft is now moving towards a more software-centric company. And how Microsoft is actually moving towards the less software-centric company. Microsoft is actually Microsoft has actually succeeded in creating software and also the application. However, Microsoft wants something more. That's why Microsoft wants to grab the opportunity to actually create a device and also actually provide a more platform for the application to be working. And for this, we believe that by creating a new device, by creating the new devices for the application and other complementing application, we believe that Microsoft will actually be able to regain back its glory. And to be able to produce these kind of devices, Microsoft actually needs these two qualities, which is the production efficiency and also the market penetrating ability. And we know that Nokia has actually succeeded in creating these two, because Nokia has actually built a very strong foundation within its gadgets, and also Nokia has succeeded in going into the emerging markets and actually marketing their products towards the low and the medium and low market for the gadget industry. Therefore, we believe that by acquiring Nokia, Microsoft is actually gaining a more competitive edge towards building this growing industry. And through this, Microsoft will actually be able to regain back its glory in the technology industry. And how Microsoft will actually make use of this opportunity will be further explained by my colleague. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. So initially, we established a question in which how to resolve the conflicting interests with the vendors, which basically arises because Microsoft needs to make a decision between of choices of establishing the tablets and the mobile devices, or developing the operating system of Windows Phone, which is two sides in the same coin. Which means that if Microsoft needs to establish and build its own mobile handsets and hardware devices, they need to sacrifice the mobile phones, which is used by the competitors, because the competitors will view Microsoft as Microsoft as a predators of their mobile handsets. Therefore, the competitors will no longer use the Windows Phone that Microsoft has. Now, by seeing the opportunity of Nokia's integration, we will answer how to resolve this problem. And we decide that for such trade-off between hardware and software, we want to focus on hardware. And the reasons are following. So, in terms of focusing on hardware, we want to create mobile smartphones and the tablets based on the several competitiveness that Microsoft is now gaining. because of the Nokia's integration, Nokia provides opportunities for Microsoft to utilize Nokia's competitiveness in producing mobile devices. Like my colleague has explained, that Nokia has been very cost efficient and has been able to penetrate the markets, in particular the emerging countries. We think that by focusing on Nokia's capability, we can produce and we can manufacture the devices and the hardware and the hardwares, the mobile handsets, smartphones, and the tablets. Moreover, we will decide to use the brand Microsoft rather than Nokia, because we cannot deny that the Nokia's lateness in coming into the Android operating system was a very fatal and had a very fatal and adverse consequence, which impacts the brand of Nokia, which makes the consumers of tablets and mobile devices not attracted to Nokia brand anymore, and into the operating system, into its whatever operating system they're using. Therefore, we believe that Microsoft has a better brand than Nokia. We want to use the Microsoft as the brand of our platform in the new products, which are the mobile smartphones and the tablets. And we will later will acknowledge that this will resolve conflicting interests with the vendors. But how is our target market, and how we can resolve this is based on the outlook of the current markets of the mobile devices and tablets, which basically comprises of several competitors: Apple, Samsung, ZTE, Huawei, and Microsoft. Apple has focused on premium products. It has a strong design, it has a strong brand, but it has also a very high price, and it uses its own software. And Samsung has also strong design, but moderately comparatively lower price than Apple. And by such strategy, Samsung can acquire its own brand strength in the market. While ZTE and Huawei has focused on the low-end products with the low prices and with the moderate designs and brands. And Microsoft has actually competitiveness in creating the design and technology, and also it has a good brand that we would like to establish. And with the lower price, because of the cost efficiency of Nokia and the economies of scale that Nokia has already gained. But the problem is, right now, Microsoft has launched its devices as a Surface tablet or the other devices under the operating system of Windows, which is not attractive to any consumers at all, by the evidence that it is not sold well in the market. How we want to acquire, we want to resolve this opportunity, we want to acquire the opportunity and resolve the problem. We want to shift from the Windows operating system, and by using the Android operating system. Therefore, we can gain into the market. We can compete for example, with Samsung, which has also similar capability and similar brands. And therefore, by focusing on hardware, we resolve the conflicting interests between hardware and software. We let go the Windows Phone software. If the competitors perceive us as the predators in the market, let it be. We want to focus on the tablets, which have very rich opportunity. If they do not want to use our software, it's fine. We also shift to the Android platform. Now, my colleague Tony will explain why and how we want to use the Android operating system.
Thank you, Iqbal. So first, we compare the Windows OS with the Android OS based on its pros and cons. The first is, Microsoft is Microsoft's own product. That's the strongest pros of Microsoft. Google Androids have a very unique pros between the widely used by the consumers. There's also open source that draws the app's developer, and they also have a strong brand. The only cons they have Google products. But we have already decided to go with the Android because they have these three benefits, which are: first, Google Android has a vibrant mobile ecosystem. That is something that Windows OS lacks as of right now. By shifting to Android, we are already getting the ecosystem that has been established strongly, and I think we believe that this is a very good opportunity. And the second is, it also has a huge market that will support the sales of our new Microsoft devices, which is the smartphones and tablet, and we believe that this is very profitable. And the third, it also will boost the sales of our products. And the financial impact of our recommendation is this. it will reduce the cost with the OS division, but also will reduce the profit because we no longer have the licensing fee from the OS.
Sorry, I have to stop you.
Okay, thank you. That's all for our presentation. Thank you for your
So
attention.
we'll start with a 15 minutes Q&A session. So please feel free to ask questions.
Okay. Now, I think you have done a very comprehensive analysis of the issues that Microsoft is facing, and you also addressed the issue about perhaps the failure of Nokia, right? So you came up with this idea of using Microsoft brand name to promote this, but what I can see that you are perhaps diminishing the brand name, or in a way that giving up the value or your market to the competitors, or in fact you decided to recommend that the company should go to the Android system, right, instead of your own OS. So this definitely will create, I think, internal problems, right, to the shareholders, right, to the employees. So as the new CEO, what would you recommend to him to address the concerns or questions or doubts from those stakeholders of the company in supporting the strategy that you recommended?
I'll answer the question. We understand that Microsoft has persistently want to use their own operating system for their mobile devices, which is the Surface and maybe the Nokia mobile phone, which is supported with the Windows OS. But we see that these two products have failed miserably in the market. Surface and Nokia smartphone failed to create abundant growth for Microsoft, and we believe that it's time for Microsoft to acknowledge that their operating mobile system for mobile devices is flawed. It's not good, and the customer will not cater to that. We understand that they persist to use, but we believe it's better for them to switch for now, because we believe that Android has much more pros than the Windows OS. Like I mentioned before, they have a strong infrastructure of the mobile devices, which Windows OS doesn't have. And for information, that the apps developer that support this kind of infrastructure also have a very bad experience with the Windows OS, and we think it will be very hard to convince them to create more apps for the Windows OS. And thus we believe that the most convincing answer to answer this problem in the devices business line of Microsoft is to use Android, because they have a very huge market base, and we think we can penetrate it. And I think the shareholders will believe that the switch will further increase the profitability of the Windows mobile business, and we'll think there will be no problem at all to switch. And for the employees, we think in the meantime, when we transition to Android, they could develop more innovative product using this change that my colleague Nabila has said, and creating new innovation in this kind of mobile device market. So we believe that it will not be a problem at all if you want to address this change to the CEO of the Microsoft. Thank you.
Earlier you mentioned that right now Amazon has about 70% of the and you said that your goal will be to and you believe that you can take quite a chunk out of that market, and you even mentioned it can be up to 30%. And can you explain how you're going to do that?
Okay, so we have a server system that is actually very good, and it actually is the fact that it will already grab the 35% and will consistently grab that market share. It will consistently be growing to grab that market share. It is a fact that is stated that we can grab that market share. So we believe that it's already strong in the services industry. We're already strong since we have an integrated cloud system. It's called Azure Cloud, and it's already strong. So we can compete with Amazon.
But are you able to elaborate a bit more on how that can be done?
Oh, sure. And not only, since we already know that the server is already strong, and how we can actually enhance our aim to get more market share is actually by integrating the cloud and the server. and also through the devices that we want to use. My friend here mentioned that we will not be using the mobile operating system, but we will be using the operating system for the personal computers as well. So we have an integrated product in the other segments. Thus, the market will actually be very strong.
Good. If I may to sum up my friend's answer, basically the way that we're going to tap more market share in the service business is through product excellence. That we have a very competitive product, like my colleague said earlier, which is the Azure SQL, and this is according to the analysts for the market, they believe that this product can take over the position of current Amazon position in the cloud businesses, and they also the analysts also predict that it will be grow very abundantly in the future, and the number of 30% is only just for this fiscal year, which is I think 2013 in the case. And by using this product excellence and by the changing culture of Microsoft, which elaborated by Nabila before, to enhance the innovation, we believe that we can keep this product excellence, innovate more and more, and thus we can create further market share for this for our service business. Thank you.
But earlier you mentioned about there's still the PC system which uses the Microsoft operating system, but we all know that PC the use of PC is diminishing. I mean, it's just going to be extinct one day. So how are you going to deal with that?
It will be diminishing, surely. There's tablets and smartphones, but does not mean that we have to not grab the opportunity that we can grab from that market. It's not a market that it's not good for our company. It's still profitable, and then we can integrate our hardware system from the tablets and smartphones using that. And of course, I have mentioned before that we have 4 revenue streamlines. There's the apps also, not only the operating system. We have strength in the apps, in the office products, and that is what we have to maintain the strength in for actually further developing the operating system.
And to conclude my friend's answer, we believe that in the long run, the cloud can also be applied into the mobile devices, because we believe that we already all use maybe the Dropbox system and all the cloud computer based, and we believe that this also can be applied when the PC start diminishing. It can also be applied into the mobile devices. So we think that it's a star as of right now, the service, the cloud business. And for servers, we believe that as long as internet is around, we still need servers, and that is why we believe that this service will continue to grow in the future. Thank you.
You mentioned at the start of the presentation that the remaining bits of ticking the box of being a successful devices and service company is the Nokia acquisition, because it fills the remaining 2 gaps. Then I heard obviously talk about removing Nokia's brand altogether, changing into Microsoft. Obviously, the purchase price, I assume, brings a lot of huge goodwill, right, that you gain from Nokia. And I think the main one will still have a lot of traction in a lot of markets. So how do you see that actually bringing in the Microsoft name and getting rid of Nokia's name altogether actually do help in terms of your business impression? And secondly, what about in terms of the culture then? Because I would assume a lot of Nokia colleagues will have a very big negative feeling towards getting rid of the Nokia brand, and that actually goes against the idea of bringing the 2 cultures together. And especially, I think one point you mentioned about this competition internally as well. Defeating the leading CEO was talking about actually wanting to do more teamwork. So that was also against what I thought they were trying to achieve.
Well acknowledged, when acquiring Nokia, Microsoft also pays a certain amount of goodwill into the brand that already existed in Nokia. But in terms of technology industry and the internet and the computer industry, which is a very rapid development with many competitors and large and fierce competitors, we think one fatal decision will lead into many fatal problems. That leads into the decision to abandon the Nokia brand. Because even though we acknowledge that Nokia has still a brand in there, but in terms of penetrating into the tablet markets and the mobile devices, we think we cannot use Nokia's brand anymore. Because what you want to target is that those potential consumers that will perceive that Microsoft has so long had a good brand and is able to develop products and devices that have the good technology, not losing with the Samsung or not even the technology comparable to Apple, for example, even though different market segment, the premium and the middle income consumers. And we hope that with it's the consequence. One of the consequences that we need to take by abandoning the Nokia's brand, but we also integrate these people of Nokia into a business into a product division of Microsoft by creating hardware products and tablets. And about the other answers will be.
Maybe I would like to first start. In order for a company to be able to succeed to develop a product, or a gadget, not only the technology that is needed, but also the image and the perception by the public. And we know that Nokia has already lost in terms of the perception, because nowadays, like almost very little people are actually still using Nokia. And if we are going to introduce a new product, which is a tablet or any gadget that is equivalent to iPad or Samsung tablets, the brand Nokia itself will not be able to compete because now the mobile devices that is introduced by Nokia has already lost compared to others. And we believe that the talents in Nokia, their achievement is not only by producing something good in terms of their perception, but also perceived by other people. And if we can convince these talents that Microsoft will be able to bring them to creating a new product that is able to be successful in the market, we believe that these talents will be willing to stay, will be more than happy to stay, and also it's actually an achievement for them that is not only creating a device that is good, but what they think is good, but also the market thinks is actually good.
And to answer your second question, is rather the internal competition conflicting with the vision to make teamwork? It's actually not conflicting at all. It's actually the internal competition is actually also a form of teamwork, because you want to make teamwork, but teamwork is actually in parts of teams, and in that part of teams you would compete, but you're not competing at each other. You're competing with each other, and you're growing along in the company, because we were setting standards. When you compete together for excellence, and also it creates a strong team. And if you're questioning if whether the Nokia would actually feel bad for their company name to be eradicated from the product, well, Lisa has explained very well before that we have to believe the company have to actually deliver the vision that we want market to also perceive the company as well.
My other question is about the area of innovation. Now, I think in your very beginning of the presentation, you mentioned about the weakness or the problems which you see within the company, which is hindering the innovation of Microsoft. But what would you recommend, or what can be done to resolve those problems or get the situation improved?
Okay, I will try to answer. The first, we think the current culture of Microsoft is very rigid and it's so standardized, because Microsoft is MNC and multinational company that it implement a very strict standard and regulation through they're all companies, global. But we think it's very bad for a technological company to be so rigid in their regulation. And that is why Nabila, my colleague before, has said that we will encourage our employees to create a side project on their own in the 10% of their working time. This will stimulate their innovation and creating a more creative environment for them to improve their creativity and innovation. And we believe this will be successful because Google has already implemented the same policy. Google, if we add also Google now is the most valuable company in the technological sector, they did not possess a very strict and rigid regulation like Microsoft. And that is why we will try to change that by introducing 10% of work hours to be allocated to the side project personally.
I will have to stop you.
Done by the end. Thank you.
So thank you very much, University of Indonesia, for your presentation.